want to thank Dr. Moore and Dr. Sutton for their unwavering support of D3 and small college athletes. So we are truly blessed to be here this morning. I'm going to have each of the panelists introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's Sydney Brown. I just finished my junior year at Denison University. It's a small liberal arts college in Ohio, and I'm a global health major.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kellen Smith. I just finished my sophomore year at Denison University. I'm on the basketball team, psychology major, and I'm currently the leader of the Black Student Athlete Association at Denison.
Hi guys, my name is Kendall Dunham. I just finished my junior year at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. I'm on the women's basketball team, and I'm a computer science major, and I'm the co-campus relations chair in BSA.
Hi guys, Brian Musako. I'm a financial engineering major at NYU. I play men's basketball, and I'm a rising senior. And yeah, what's the last question? I forgot already. Oh yeah, I'm the president of Black Student Athlete at my school. So.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Raquel Williams. I am a recent graduate, like last week, of the University of Rochester, double majoring in health policy and Black studies with a minor in political science. I'm the founder and president of the Black Student Athlete Coalition at my school, and I'm the president of the UAA Black Letter Winning Athlete Coalition, so that's our whole conference-wide Black athlete group. Nice to meet y'all.
And Innovator of the Year.
All right, so if each of you could describe your experience as a Black student athlete at a D3 school.
Yeah, I'd say my experience is probably a little bit different than some other people's. Denison is a very small school, for those who don't know, not a lot of students, under 3,000. And I do track, which is typically a majority Black sport, but at my school this year, there are 3 Black women, one of which just graduated, and I want to say 2 Black men on our team. And I came to Denison as a sprinter, a 400 hurdler, because I did 300 hurdles in high school. And 400 hurdles did not work out for me. Once I started getting into season, I was developing a lot of breathing issues, and my performance level anxiety began to increase as the season began. And when we would get to meets a lot, I had a lot of episodes, and they had to end up calling the ambulance on me a few times. So over the summer, my coach reached out to me, and she was like, hey, I think you would make a really good multi-athlete. A multi are people that do the heptathlon and the decathlon. The heptathlon has 7 events. For those who don't know, it's the 100 hurdles, high jump, long jump, shot put, javelin, 200, and the 800. I was a little bit nervous beforehand because the only event I'd ever done before that and before college was the 200. I'd never done any of the other ones. So I was really on the fence, but something that has taught me is to push through the pressure. I've been able to not be so anxious about messing up on one event, but I've been able to push through, and when you do bad on one event, you have other events to fall back on. And I'd say having the small community that we have, our school of Black athletes, it's definitely difficult at certain times because I feel like there's cultural divide, and a lot of times people will make jokes at practice, some of the non-POC athletes, and it hits hard because everybody around will laugh, but then you hear it. But having just like the small community around you to understand you has been really helpful.
Similar to Sydney, for me, basketball is a majority Black sport, but I am one of 5 African Americans on my team. 3 have graduated this year, and next year we're going to have 3. Past 2 years have been up and down for us. My coaching staff is all white. My freshman year, we had 1 Black coach, and we kind of leaned on him, the 5 of us, as like a mentor and as a leader, to kind of get that, adult experience. He's been through what we've been through, and again, we used him as a leader and as a safe space. He left this year and went to Brown, and him leaving, his presence was really missed between us. When we talked, when he left, we thought that our coaches were going to try to hire another Black coach for us, because we think that's important. Yesterday we found out, unfortunately, that did not happen. But now, this year, our second year, or my second year, I should say, we've leaned on each other a lot more. And not having that adult mentorship and leadership has been tough, because, leaning on each other as athletes, you can only do so much, in my opinion. But been able to push through it and have that resilience. Now, on the other side of that, more positive outlook, alumni have reached out to me, come to games, and told me how proud they are of us. 5 black players, that's the most we've ever had in program history. In the past, there's only been 1 to 2, and those 1 to 2 players, they didn't see the floor that much. Us 5, I think 4 to 5 of us are starters. So not only are we on the team, but you see us, we're playing on the court. And to see how much that means to the black alumni and how proud they are of us, it means a lot. So, yeah.
Me personally, I've had a very positive experience, at least on my team, because so like 2 years ago, we got a new head coach, and he's black, and he was very purposeful about bringing in an all-black coaching staff. And our school was like actually very supportive, like or at least our AD was really supportive, and so like that obviously like changes the entire dynamic of a team having an all-black coaching staff. And I've also have like 4 other teammates who are black, so that's 5 out of 15 people, and I feel like I have that community on my team, which is really a blessing. But I know that in other teams, talking to other people in BSA, like on our men's team, there's only one black student athlete on that team, and like it's men's basketball, so I feel like it's kind of like where you're not finding the basketball people at. But I feel like it's on like I'm blessed in my situation, but it's still something that affects all the other teams on my campus. So I definitely have had like a positive experience just within my team, but it's still something that definitely needs to be worked on, and like getting black student athletes to come to Hopkins.
Yeah, my experience has been pretty unique. I went to a small college my freshman year called Franklin Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I went to walk on there. And the first practice, so for D3, if you guys don't know, the rule was originally you start practice October 15th. So I was doing everything unofficially for the team as a walk on, and then my tryout was the October 15th date. And they cut the other walk on. They kept me for a practice, or they kept me for a week of practice. And by the end of it, everyone was telling me, they thought I was gonna make the team, all that. And the coach tells me, it's not a skill issue. You control everything you control. We just have too many people in your position. So I got cut. And I went through a lot mentally, because my dream was always to play basketball, and beyond college, play pro. And I went through a lot mentally. I reached out to a bunch of D3 schools. And it's not really marketable that you just got cut from another D3 school that wasn't even good. Um, so, I got lucky, God is great, and I met NYU men's basketball coach at a camp. And, he said to send me your film, we can see what happens. I sent him my film, and then I had to get into NYU on my own merit. All D3 schools, you can't just say, like, hey, like, we really like this kid, get him in the school. Like, you have to get in on your own merit. So I got in on my own merit, and then the coach said, hey, you can come along and be the manager. So I was a manager. I was a manager for a month on the team, and luck always favors the prepared. And 4 people got injured, and I was ready. They said, hop in the inter squad. So I hopped in the inter squad. I played really well, and then I got a practice jersey. So I was a practice jersey. I didn't mean a practice jersey. I was a practice player for a month, and after that month, I got like a cool walk-on video, everything like that, and I made the team. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then fast forward this year, I played in every game, and we went all the way to the national championship. Yeah, yeah, thank you. But yeah, like D3 is very tough, because I went through all that mentally, continuing to trust the process, even though there was no really monetary value in it. I make the team, I'm not getting a scholarship. I just make the team, and I got the jersey, I got the cool roster photo. That's it. So I'm really just playing for the love of basketball and the love for, just continuing to play. Yeah, that's D3.
Yeah, my experience is similar to a lot of what has been already said, but different in a lot of other ways. Like it's been said before, I play basketball. You would think, oh, there's probably a bunch of black girls on this team. I'm probably the first black woman graduate of my school in the last like 10 years. Every girl has come in and they left. I came in with 2, transferred. Next year they get a new one, transferred. Next year they get another one, transferred. I'm the only one who's able to make it through, and I think that's truly was my mission to stay. It was really hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was really challenging. It was, the microaggressions, the crazy questions, girl, what you about to do right now? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what black people be doing late at night. So what you do? Oh, nothing different than what you guys do. And so, coming into that experience and realizing how bad it was, and I was like, okay, well, someone wants me to change this, or let's say wouldn't put me here. And so that was when I founded our Black Student Athlete group. But right then, our first year, we had 29 Black student athletes total out of about 400. So you can just get an image in your mind of what 400 people look like and what 29 of them look like. Okay. So, coming in our whole time, it's been just challenge after challenge, admin being like, but we're happy. Everyone's happy. We have all these people doing these great things. Why would you tell me that there's a problem? And that's because they wasn't seeing the problem because it's so small. It's such a small aspect of our school, and our school competes really high level. And so they always were like, oh, Rochester, you guys are good, or academically you all are good, or you guys do research, or you doing all these things, so you guys are fine. And having to be there and be a consistent person, like, no, we're not. We are not fine. If you ask a bunch of people, on our campus, they are not fine. They do not have the same access to resources and experiences. And that was always something that kind of inspired me, that I was looking at my fellow peers having different issues, struggling with different things, and was like, someone needs to lock in and someone needs to put in that work. And so I would say my D3 experience, was really beautiful but really painful. I wouldn't wish what I experienced on anybody, even my biggest enemy, and a lot of times. But I think truly that like God put me on this earth to do that. And I really think like looking at our next generation, for this year we're having over 40 Black student athletes coming in our next time. So, and we're graduating less than what's coming in. So there's a lot of stuff that this is what is meant to be.
So that leads into, do you feel like people outside of your team and your school understand the commitment it takes to compete at this level?
I think I can speak for all of us and say no. I think a lot of people assume certain things about D3 athletics and they don't realize the academic rigor that goes with that. We all have extremely rigorously academic courses, and our schools put a lot of pressure on athletes. And I'd say there's not always an understanding between professors and coaches. And for me specifically, as someone in STEM, I have labs, I have my regular classes, and then I've got, as a multi-athlete, we have at least 2 practices a day, then we have lifts, then there's studying, there's homework, and then there's time to eat, then there's time to just relax and be yourself, and there's not a lot of that. And I think that at D3 schools, we don't have a lot of those resources that other schools have, and we don't have the power of being like, oh, well, I go to this big school. We have competitive athletes, not just at our schools, but at the other schools, and people don't realize how much work goes into that. And I'd say that that's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, just going off of that, like I kind of think it's funny, like the disconnect between professors and coaches. Like I have a couple like quick anecdotes. Like me and a couple other of my teammates, we took an acting class this past semester, and we play on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and the class is a Monday, Wednesday class. So we emailed the professor beginning of the semester saying we're gonna miss a couple Wednesday classes, and we have a rule: if it's a school sanctioned event, you're excused. She tried to tell us that she was going to take off like attendance points and deduct points off of our regular grade because we had a game. It's a game. Like we can't be in 2 places at
Not
once.
practice.
Yeah, like so we had to sit down and have a conversation with her about that. And then our coaches, like for me personally, I like to plan my day by the minute. So I'll book a meeting a week before with one of my professors for office hours or extracurricular activity. And our coaches will text us the day of and expect us, practices at 12 o'clock. Hey, we're going to move practice up to 11, and I have a meeting at 11:30. But you just told us the day of, and I booked this meeting a week before. You expect me to just be at the mercy of your schedule. It doesn't work like that. And they want us to be transparent with them and communicate with them. But you guys don't do the same with us. They don't reciprocate. So it's frustrating. But again, I just think it's, again, the disconnect between professors and coaches and how they don't understand our time management, our commitment for us is interesting.
Yeah, I have a similar story to the professors not understanding. Like, I feel like sometimes they think we're doing like club or something. But because I blessed enough, my team, we made it to the Sweet 16 this year, and we had I had to tell my professor, obviously, like, hey, I'm gonna miss, and you don't know if you're gonna make it to the next round until you win the game before. And so like that next day, I told him on Monday we had our midterm on Friday, and I was like, oh, like I won't be able to. Oh, actually, it was I think the final. Maybe it was the final. I'm not sure. And I had to tell him, I was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna miss. Like, is there any way I could take it early? mind you, this professor hadn't like posted any like review stuff yet at that point. I'm just like, hey, like I'm putting myself honestly at a disadvantage. Try to take this early just because I know I'll be gone. And he's like, oh, well, which one did you know about first? Like, if you're not going to be here, like you're going to get a 0. I'm like, I can't be there. Like so I had to like get a bunch of people in like admin for like our athletic department and like email him and stuff. And we ended up working something out. But it was just, I was like, how do you not understand? Like I also have another commitment. Like I'm a part of the school with a commitment for the school. That being said, I think there's also a lot of stigma with like some of this, like just with all programs, but I think with D3, since it's like you're not on scholarship, you're coming, like they kind of just expect you to be held to the same, which is like we should be striving for the same as any other student. But I know that there were times where like I needed help, and I could definitely feel like, okay, like maybe I do need a tutor for this class, or maybe like I do want to like go to office hours like a little more, and like people don't understand like, oh well, like you're like, are you can't like handle it? Like, there's almost just the stigma of like not wanting to ask for help because you want to be able to handle it all. And I also just like being in classes where like people are like, be like, oh, like I didn't do well on that exam. And I'm like, oh, what'd you get? And they're like, 86. Girl, I'm glad I got my little 70, whatever. And I'm gonna move on. But yeah, I just think there's just a big stigma for like, I think the smaller athletes because the people, most of the people there aren't focused on sports. Like, and you're having to be in these classes with like the professors and everybody else holding you to the same standard, and sometimes it can feel like you don't want to like fall out of line at all and ask for extra stuff.
Yeah, I also have had similar experiences. I'm in the engineering school, which is in Brooklyn. So I even have another element of being in the city. So I have to take the train to practice. Like I'm going from Brooklyn to Soho, which is where we practice. But I go from 8 to 11:50, and then we have practice at 12:30. And they say the best way to study is to active recall. What am I active recalling? I'm going in the train, and then I go straight to practice, and then after practice I have lift. And then after lift I have another class. Then after class, then is my first time where I can sit down, relax, and study. So it's been a very tough experience, and you know, people in the engineering school. I'm the only person on my team in the engineering school, so there's not really people I can study with, and people understand the time commitment I have to study. So it's been very difficult in that aspect, and also with the professors. They don't understand the commitment of a sport. Like Kendall said, they think it's a club sport, but we're spending just as much time, if not more, than some other schools. So they don't understand that, and that's a problem that we face a lot.
Raquel, I'll let you start off with what are some solutions to combat these misconceptions and some of the other things that you're all talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the biggest thing is understanding. They don't understand. They don't come to our games. You could tell they don't come to our games. They don't see us as like students plus. They see us as students who have some extracurricular that just is like a little thing you do on the side. And that's really the biggest thing, I think, from like an admin perspective. It's not like money's just gonna grow on trees. D3 and small colleges, we know we don't have that much money. Or maybe, let me rephrase, we don't have that much money for athletics. And so they're not going to put tutors, mental health coaches, these different things into our programs. Like, they don't even want to feed us half the time. You'd be surprised how many times they'll be like, well, don't you have dining dollars? What do you mean you're hungry? Go to the dining hall. You need to eat. You don't need to, we can't buy you dinner. How dare you expect me to buy you dinner right now? So if they're not going to buy me a meal, let's believe they're not going to buy me a mental health coach. But with that being said, anyone could be a mental health coach if you really sit down and listen and you try. And if you care about me and if you show interest in me and how I'm feeling. And so our biggest thing at Rochester has been like supporting one another. We only have about 3 black coaches also. So they also need support. So we support each other. We're so small that we have to be that. I would say the other thing is leveraging your conference and leveraging the people that have similar experiences to you. I mean, yeah, like I'm the only black girl on my team, but I'm not the only black girl who plays basketball at the D3 level. And so it's actually funny enough, like Denison, who's actually not in our conference, but their basketball team also is one black girl. And I remember DMing her like, how are you? And she was like, "Girl, you don't even get me started." Like, and we were able to really share and connect on those experiences of what it's like to be one of one or two of two, or how that can really feel and look like. And so, leveraging your conference, I mean, we are such high power institutions a lot of time that we don't realize our power from that perspective. I mean, we're all research we're big, big power schools. And so being able to do like the stuff I've been able to do at the UAA has been major. It's been like, okay, well, you know what? We're doing a civic engagement campaign because everyone need to vote. And I don't care what you say, Rochester, WashU, U Chicago, we need to vote because we have power as Black people to vote. And so I organized all 8 schools to do voting campaigns and voter registration games during last October. We didn't get the outcome we wanted, but that's okay. That's okay. We knew we were it's still having the conversation about, voting and our voices as student athletes. And so I say, the power that you have as a student athlete is larger, even at the D3 level. It's not just like, oh, you got to be Power 5 to have power at your institution. So really leveraging that and connecting with your conference, because I wouldn't even be here today if it wasn't for my conference. My school did not send me. Let's make that so clear. They would not have had me be here today, and they wouldn't have had me be here last year. However, I remember asking Tim, I want to go really bad. And I know that this will be meaningful for me, and it'll be meaningful for the next range. And now we have 13 UAA athletes here from the conference. And so we're creating opportunities and resources at a different whole level than we could have ever done just using our school. So really look back in, and if one person says no, then go ask somebody else, and then ask somebody else, and tell the first person that they said yes, even if that's not true, and then ask somebody else and ask somebody else, because that's really that type of workaround and creativity is what you get what you want.
I'd say kind of connecting to that, something that I think Raquel is really good at is bringing communities together. I think we all agree having a big community is incredibly important. We have obviously groups like the BSU and the BSA at different schools, but I think being able to bring us all together, different schools, different conferences, different divisions, I think would be a really great resource. Additionally, I think having place for mentors would be really important, whether it's just professors or athletes, people from different backgrounds, similar backgrounds, different majors, different interests. I think being able to have people that understand what you're going through, but maybe have a different perspective, may have different advice for you than what you've heard before would be really important.
We're all set. We got the time notice. But truly, we thank all of you for coming here this morning. And Dr. Moore, again, thank you for your unwavering support of all of us.